We also have a library of financial vocabulary videos made by kids for other little kids. Yes, they include fart jokes, and we are completely okay leveraging whatever it takes to teach kids about money.
Welcome to Breaking Barriers. You know your path. We know the obstacles, and we can teach you how to tear them down. And now your host, CEO and founder of Adapting Social, John Vigero.
Annie and Nicolle, welcome. It's a true honor. What you guys are doing, I think, is so out of the box. Like, it's funny because a lot of times when people are thinking about financials or this or that, it's typically so marketed towards the older generation and, people who are probably college level plus. You guys took it down a step, but also I think in such a big way. So thank you so much for being here. For people who are like, who is Annie? Who's Nicolle? Can you both just explain, give us a quick high level of who you guys are and what made you do this?
Sure. I'm Nicolle, and Annie is my business partner and best friend. We're moms to 7 kids between us. We're both former attorneys. And during COVID, we discovered that our kids were financially illiterate. And while a lot of people wouldn't think that that's a big deal with really young kids, it affected our entire household. We had kids that weren't really being helpful. We saw dollar bills and lint filters, even when we tried to bribe them to do their chores. And we heard, "Can't you get another one on Amazon?" so many times that we realized that we had to do something about it. So we looked out in the market and we really were searching. All of our kids were 10 and under at the time.
Right.
And we couldn't find anything age appropriate at all. Everything was geared towards a prepaid debit card that had nothing to do with our banking institutions. And so there was something going on. Maybe it was a little bit of hubris. It was COVID brain. There was something happening. We decided to start a company and left jobs. And here we are today, a few years later, with a program that has launched to the public with credit unions, with financial institutions, and in the Google Play and Apple Store. And we're really excited about what we're doing today.
Yeah, that's amazing. And again, like I'm still mind blown. The second that my team told me about this, I was like, wow, like this is so cool. And obviously, thinking about now having my first child, I pray. Me and my wife are super excited. If it was up to me, I would have 6, 7 kids. I want an army. I'm the oldest of 5. But I think one of the things that I heard, because like you ever hear the saying that tough people create easy times and easy times create weak people. And so one of the things that me and my wife keep talking about, and a lot of my entrepreneur clients or friends or whatever, is that whole thought process right there and how you can ensure you're setting your kids up for success, right? And my father-in-law has this saying where you either raise your kid right or you'll have a big kid your whole life. Yeah. And one of the things that really stuck out to me when I saw what you guys are doing is you guys are setting people up, because if you're financial literate, then moving forward, it's one of the biggest and most challenges that people navigate when they leave their parents' house or trying to leave their parents' house, because they don't know how much it costs to live in the real world or not have just another Amazon box or all those things. So very, very cool. And so if we can. So can you already started off, so if you don't mind, can you just tell us a little bit, what's your background? So before getting into this, what's your background and give us a little bit about that.
So Nicolle and I are both former attorneys. I'm a former prosecutor. Yeah, and Nicolle's a former corporate attorney. So when we decided to found this company and create an app, we truly did not have a tech background. We have a lot of tech in our families, so they helped us a lot. That's where having big families come in very handy. You said you're the oldest of 5. I'm the middle of 6. So I drew on my family very, very heavily, and so did Nicolle. Her family has a lot of financial background. So we got a lot of help from our families and just kind of dove in and found someone who would help us create an app on a no-code platform, because it is much less expensive to develop on a no-code platform, just exponentially less expensive. So that's how we jumped in. But yeah, our backgrounds really aren't in this area. What truly qualifies us is that we're moms. Nicolle has 3 kids and I have 4. And we have a million other kids in our lives. They're always over at our house. We just know how to motivate kids.
First off, so I love that you both are attorneys. So everybody listening in here, it's so cool. You know what's so funny? I feel like most of the attorneys that I work with and know, they're like these like Renaissance people who are like, yeah, I'm quasi attorney / I'm running a medical practice, or now I'm building a financial company. So my hat's off to the both of you. That's really cool. And I love one thing you said, and I want people listening in here. Obviously, breaking barriers is about entrepreneurship. It's about, everybody's journey, what they've overcome. The one thing that I think that people need to really hear from what Annie just said is that you started in a no coding app because it's easier, it's more economical. And I think most people think like, well, I don't have the funds to start my dream business. Like, but there you can get gritty, right? You can get scrappy, you can get gritty, you can figure that out, right? And so you're on, Play Store, and I'm sure obviously, different things, but like you were able to do that because you did the research, you found that, and you didn't think like, okay, I have to spend $20,000 to build this app to start this business. So really, really awesome. And I really give you guys credit there. Because I know that, again, it's not easy to kind of bootstrap in the beginning, but it definitely is worth it as you continue to scale. So it's very, very cool. So one of the questions that we got, so we have a couple questions that get sent in to us from our audience. So one of the things that got brought up, I just want to kind of dive into, because there's a lot, right? And then I have a lot too. I'm going to be selfish this podcast. So how did you find yourself? So obviously, let's just order that on Amazon. Something that Nicolle just said, order another one on Amazon. It's easy. Like, how did you guys, like, because when doing some research, we saw that you guys looked to financial experts, child psychologists and stuff. So how did you guys like make that impactful? Because what I noticed, at least in like my, younger siblings when they were growing up, or, even like I have like younger, family members, how did you guys really get that through to them when we live in a world that is so like information is accessible for kids now from tiny yay high, they're on iPads before they're even speaking. Like my cousin's son, he at the time when he was doing it, I think it was like 3 years ago, but he was like less than one, couldn't speak obviously, but he was swiping on like this, like on the iPad. And so like, how did you guys get through to them when they can go on YouTube, they see people doing all this cool stuff, they know Amazon comes every day or every other day, and it's like how did you get through to them?
So when we started our research, looking around for other options to teach our kids about money, one of the things we discovered was this amazing study that taught us that money habits are set by age 7. And kids as young as 5 already have an emotional reaction to being a saver or a spender. And when we found that out, we knew we wanted to create a product that was really aimed for kids' minds. So we did bring a behavioral psychologist on our board to help inform everything that we were going to do when we were making this app. And we realized that we had to gamify the entire experience to get kids understanding, enjoying, and really interacting with this information. So what we looked at everybody else and what they were doing, and we just realized that it just wasn't age appropriate. And so what we did was we just focused on being age appropriate. We created puzzles to help kids learn to earn, accomplishment, self-worth, all of these things. We know generosity is important to a person's happiness. 40% people are 40% more likely to be happy if they're generous. Kids don't always have money to give, but we still wanted to build this habit of generosity. So we built an acts of kindness and community service tracker. We just tried to look at the things that would make kids feel good about themselves, because then we knew that they would continue doing this program, and we knew that their parents would love seeing these results and love seeing their kids building these feelings of achievement, these feelings of generosity, and that they would continue to use it.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's so interesting that like when you do, so I think a lot of times, not even just parents, right? Even just like people, business owners, people, the normal everyday, Joe, Jane, whatever. It's like when you look at effort versus like getting frustrated when you're not getting the results you want. With kids, it's very easy to do that. I feel like, you kind of find yourself in a position where it's like, okay, in order for you to find what you had to do, you had to do some research. Not many people are willing to go above and beyond that much because it's more effort, as opposed to just like, yelling at a kid or yelling at somebody to be like, try to get the results faster. And it typically doesn't work. So it's really cool. Me as an entrepreneur, I always look at that, like expanding efforts to get X result. Sometimes it's not a straight line. And I think, what you guys are building is really cool, because that research and the passion you guys have, I truly think is going to be a game changer, as I'm sure already is in your households and for the people that are on it. I know I'm going to be a customer of it for sure. So I also want to get a take, Annie, and get some, your thoughts on this. So Jerry Seinfeld was quoted saying that his kids, kind of almost like that Amazon situation that Nicolle mentioned, but he in an interview said something along the lines of, this is years back, where his kids were a little bit younger, but they said, hey dad, like, can I get this? And he said, no. He said, but we're rich. And he said, you're not rich, I'm rich. And that whole thought process brings me to, where you see somebody, obviously, I'm just meeting you guys. I don't know your full, life story, but like, I find myself in this position where, you see some people who were, let's call it self-made, right? And they had to go through tough times, and that made them who they are financial literate wise, grit wise. What are your thoughts on that type of, like, your kids watching, like, okay, you have a nice car, or you have a nice house that you live in, you have nice things, but like when they can't get something they want, or they're trying to build this financial literacy model, that they're like trying to bypass it due to the fact that, like, well, mom, you have nice things. Like, what the hell? Why can't I get a Snickers bar? Like, how do you like, I'm asking in practical terms, like in your day to day, like what is your response to those types of things?
We love this question because truly we built this app around that conundrum.
Yeah.
What kids have to understand, and what Jerry Seinfeld's kids have to understand, is he didn't get rich doing nothing. He earned it. And earning is the core of our app. Our entire goal is to change I wants into I want to earns. That is the whole reason our app exists. And this is what parents are telling us. So your child wants a Lego set. Before our app, they would say, I want a Lego set. After our app, now they know how to get that Lego set. It's by earning it. So now those same kids are saying, I want to earn a Lego set. So you go, you take a picture of that Lego set, whether it's in the store or you just take a screenshot of it. You put it into the app and it breaks it up. It shatters it into puzzle pieces. The parent decides how many puzzle pieces it is, and they decide what each of those pieces is. Is it making your bed? Is it cleaning your room? Is it doing the dishes? Is it doing your homework? And every time a child achieves one of those things, a piece of that Lego set, or whatever it is, your allowance, a new pair of goggles, whatever it is, it can be an experience, a trip to the ice cream parlor, it flies into place. And so those kids are learning that in order to achieve that level of success their parents got, they need to earn it piece by piece. Nothing comes easy.
I literally have the chills right now. I'm not even kidding. I literally have the freaking chills. I don't even know you guys, and I already love you guys. So that's such a good concept. And for everybody out there, I said this on other podcasts, but for anybody new who's listening in, I think one of the things that I was pretty fascinated by, which is kind of similar to what you're saying, but I love that you're scaling that thought process and that framework. And I had a client years back where every time his kids, who at the time were in middle school, would want something, he would ask them, like, what you're going to sell or what you're going to do to get that. And I remember thinking, like, that's an interesting concept, right? So, but like literally you just said there, it's so awesome. And I think so it kind of breaks down exactly my thought process and helps me even better. For anybody out there who has, like, growing up, I'm the oldest of 5, my parents had some financial struggles, and that pushed me to do like what I wanted to do in life, to help them eventually, live a life where I didn't have to worry about that stuff. And I always try to figure out what the core ingredient was. And you literally just solved it for me in like 5 seconds. And it's the fact that when you are starving for something, and you don't have something, you're not getting it, you realize that your parents can't just give it to you. You have to go earn it. And I learned that the hard way. And most people have to learn it the hard way when they don't have things that are just handed to them. So that was awesome. That literally was insane. My brain is broken and repaired at the same time. So very excited about that. So first thing I want to ask you guys, so people who are seeing this and like hearing this podcast, like, number one, where can they go to download, or how can they engage with you guys? Like, can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Our website is a great place to start, myfirstnestegg.com. And not only does it have a place to download the app, but we've also created a place where parents can really have a full toolkit to teach their kids about money. And we have great articles, expert content, and we also have a library of financial vocabulary videos made by kids for other little kids that introduce the concepts of interest, inflation, what's an account, what's the word finance. And kids love watching other little kids talk in their terms. There's jokes like the stock market, and it really kind of breaks it down for kids. I mean, yes, they include fart jokes, and we're completely okay leveraging whatever it takes to teach kids about money. So that's a great place. We're also in the app and Google Play Store, My First Nest Egg. And we're really excited. What I really liked, something you said, is the same journey we're on as entrepreneurs is the exact same thing we're trying to teach our kids every day. I mean, the effort versus reward is real. And especially when you're running lean, right? You have to put in so much effort to see reward, and you have to be ready to pivot, and you have to be ready to turn, and you have to be ready to like hit a barrier and then kind of break through it with just using something other than money, right? Like you have to figure out something other than money to break barriers in entrepreneurship.
I love that. Yeah, because money's the byproduct, right? I mean, it's really the journey and the passion and who you meet along the way and what you learn about yourself along the way and how you help other people. And teaching that at such a young age is so awesome. It's like almost when you think about the fact that the best time to learn languages is when you're a child or like an infant, because you can learn so many things because of your brain and the ability to not think about effort versus like what your limiting beliefs are. You really don't have them. So you just learn all these things like a sponge. And the fact that like it's almost like creating a warrior. I love it. It's like you're building a warrior, a financial literate, but also somebody who's just like a worldly person, so young. And I'm so insanely motivated by this. I think it's so freaking awesome. So where do you like see this going, right? So like I love that you said, something about like kids, uploading content or whatever, and something might be a fart joke, right? Where, it's funny, but also it's like, that's their language right now. They're still like, they can laugh and be silly, right? And be harmless. So I love that you're doing that. But where do you see this eventually? Like, what's the next step here, right? Because I think maybe financial literacy is step one, I'm assuming, right? So what's next?
Well, I mean, Nicolle and I are moms, so we want to save the world, of course. Like that's step one, financial literacy. Step two, save the entire world. Our true goal is we want to reduce the wealth gap. We want to give everybody the exact same tools to be successful and happy. And I think the second step really has to do with that mental health Nicolle mentioned. We are seeing a lot of depression in younger and younger children. And so we want to, one, help educate kids on the financial side, but two, give families the tools they need to raise kids who feel good about themselves, who feel good about their self-worth, who are generous and help society out. All of that starts young. It's really interesting you said that language thing, because we wrote an entire article on that exact concept. You don't start teaching someone a language when they're 15. It's much harder to learn. You start it very young. And so there are these kids in this country who have a tremendous advantage because they are growing up with the language of money. We see it. We have friends who grew up in families where they talked about money. That is simply the minority. Most kids are growing up in families where they're not talking about money because money is a taboo subject. People would rather talk about everything other than money. So our goal is truly to give families all of the tools they need to talk about these issues, to raise kids from a young age understanding this, and to close the wealth gap so everyone has the same opportunities in this country.
Wow, I love that. It's so what an impact, right? And I think, again, going back to you saying you want to change the world, I mean, how else can you do it other than empowering, children and the youth, right? Like that is the next generation. So I think what you're doing is so freaking impactful. So I have two last questions, right? But I'm going to make this challenging. It's kind of like an exercise, right? So there's a really hard question, and then there's like a mild, like, buffalo, is it spicy, a little spicy? I don't know. But I would like for you guys to choose who's going to go the hard question and who's going to go mild.
Surprise us.
Surprise us. Oh my gosh.
We're always up for a challenge. Let's go.
Just do it.
Listen, you guys got to pick. I can't put it on you guys like that. I don't know you guys that well yet. So you guys pick whoever you think should take the harder one.
I'll take hard right now. I'm in that mood.
I like it. Okay, cool. So, all right. So, okay. So a lot of times in entrepreneurship, right? And even I would even, argue with anybody who's an attorney, there's a lot of schooling, a lot of things you have to do, to pass the bar and all that good stuff. A lot of times in the entrepreneurship sense, people are thinking about legacy, right? And what you want to leave for your children, what you want to be remembered by, and all that good stuff. And conventionally, we look at that from where our feet are today to where, eventually we see ourselves, or that peak of the mountaintop, we'll call it, right? So I like to reverse engineer this in this little exercise and think about the one thing, right, that way surpasses us, way surpasses, our children, our friends, our family, all of that, right? And that is our gravestone, right? So if you were to write that today, simply paraphrasing, right, what would be on your gravestone?
Oh, wow. That is a tough one. So one of the things that is on a sign above the door of our home is a sign that says, to whom much is given, much is required. And I can't think of a day where even together, we always talk about this, how fortunate we are in terms of having, we've been given all of the tools. We have great education. We have been given all of these opportunities. We have healthy kids. We have supportive spouses. We literally have all the tools to then be able to give back to the rest of the world.
Right.
And so I think on my tombstone, it would be taking that, to whom much is given, much is required. She was given a lot, but she gave a lot. And I think as a company, that is 100% our goal, that we received so much from the world and we gave everything back 100-fold, because that's really what we want to do for our kids. We want our kids to live that way. And I think that's what it would be.
Bang. Listen, Nicolle, that was great. That was great. What I love about that is that at first you're like a little like, whoa, wait a second, but you dove right in. You got it done.
That's the entrepreneurial spirit, right?
You got to just fire back. I love it. You did a great job. And I thought that was very, very good. I love it. What kind of tea are you drinking, by the way?
Bergamot to reduce my cholesterol.
I had chamomile tea this morning. Anti nerves, or whatever you call it.
Awesome.
All right, so Annie, you're up. So this one is way easier, but it could be a challenge. It's still it's still on the toes. Okay, so over the years, one of the things when I first started my company, Adapting Social, my first business, I started it when I was roughly 17 years old. I was still in high school, and I didn't know much about anything. I didn't have any sort of leader or somebody that was like a mentor to me that owned a business. Like my parents were very, working class, like mom, stay-at-home mom. And so I started Googling what's a quote I could put on my wall or put all over the place to kind of motivate me through tough times and challenges to keep me going. And so, I came up with this quote that I found online. And so I just wanted to know if there's anything for you that over the years, whether it's through, personal struggles, business, whatever it could be, going through law school, has there been anything? It could be a Annie original too. I mean, it doesn't have to be some sort of quote. But is there any quotes for you that have really stuck out to you over the years, or an adage or something of that nature?
I think the adage that really sticks out for me in business is just start. Just start. And that is something that we get approached all the time by people who are like, how did you get going? What did you do? How did you know what to do? And the truth is we struggled with that. We're like, what do we do? And then we sat down one day and we just started. And Nicolle would come to my house every single day and be like, okay, here we go. Let's get going. I'm like, we don't have anything to do. We don't have a business. We don't know what we're doing. She's like, just start. Just sit down and do something. Do anything. Because it is so easy when you get overwhelmed to just kind of sit back and give up. So I don't know. It's not super inspired, but I think people don't start things because it seems too scary and it seems too overwhelming. But once you actually get into it, you find that next thing to do. And then after that, you find that next thing to do. And then now we have so much to do that we're completely overwhelmed. And I stop for a minute, but we can't.
It's like you want a full plate, but then you have it. You're like, holy shit, what do I do next?
Yeah.
But no, I think that's awesome. And it's I think it's understated, right? A lot of times people think about the cliche long quotes, and it doesn't have to be that. I think it's more of the meaning, the power behind it. And you're absolutely right. And again, everybody listening in here, what Annie said is powerful, because I think most people, there's so many smart people that I know. Like, again, with me in high school and my academic career, I didn't go to college. I started this, kept going. And for me, one of the things that I always looked at was like, again, when you sit there and you assess like what it is that you want out of life, what you want to build, like who you want to become, all these different variables. I know smart people who went to George Washington University to be an attorney. And I know people who have gone for medical and all this other stuff. They have a million great ideas, but they don't execute on them, right? And it's like, you be the smartest person in the room. And that's why a lot of the people that are major CEOs are knuckleheads in reality, but they just literally will outgrind anybody because they'll start, right? And I think that's the key, is just starting, right? Just go. So I think that I don't think it was cliche. I don't think it was short. I think it was awesome. So I think that was great, Annie. Thank you for that. And yeah, so that really concludes our time. And I just want to thank the both of you, Nicolle, Annie, for your time today. I believe it's the one asset that we don't get back. So you spending it here with us instead of like, doing something for your business or with your family means the absolute world to us. And one more time, if you could just plug your guys' self again, Nicolle, where can they find you? Website, everything, like one more time for them.
Sure. myfirstnestegg.com is our website, and we're on the app and Google Play Store, My First Nest Egg. And we'd be so excited to have any of your listeners on. In fact, we'd love to be able to give them a code that they could download our app for free.
Awesome.
If that's something that you're interested in. So
yeah, absolutely.
What do you want it to be? Do you want barriers, breaking barriers? What do you want? Make it shorter, barriers, breaking?
Maybe just BB.
BB.
So you can't screw it up, like it's just like so easy, so absolutely. And thank you for that. So generous of you guys. Thank you. And again, I'm so grateful to meet you guys. Congrats. And I really am excited to watch the next versions of your adventure and your business, because the impact you're trying to make here inspires me as a new dad, soon to be. So I'm really excited to watch it. I'll definitely, again, I'm going to be on the apps. I'm going to be on the website myself. Cheering you guys on and using it, and just congratulations for wanting to do something that's not just about monetary and just about the youth and helping kids like build a strong mindset young. So my hat's off to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah.